The way we remember women in World War II is often this Rosie the Riveter, right? And it's a particular vision of Rosie the Riveter. It's the, we can do it with her arm up. It's not the Norman Rockwell, much buffer, tougher Rosie, which is what most people thought of in World War II. That sort of vision of World War II as this moment when women rise up and they, help the war effort and they join in the effort, and everybody remembers them as being these great citizens and patriots. That's not exactly how the story happened at that time. There was a lot of resistance toward women serving in the military at the beginning of the war. There had been efforts for years to create what became the Women's Army Corps, and those were vehemently resisted even after the attack on Pearl Harbor. It was not until the spring of '42 that Congress finally created a Women's Auxiliary Corps and then later became an integral part of the United States Army. Then the waves follow, the women reservists in the Marine Corps, all of the various women's services. We remember those, I think, through rose-colored glasses. There was a concerted effort at the end of the war to get rid of those services. By the end of the war, the military itself recognized that they very much valued those women's labor, that it was essential to the war effort. And so it was in large part the military leaders who came out and said, we need these women. And in 1948, the Congress passed the Women's Armed Services Integration Act, which allowed women who were not nurses, who were already permanent in the military, allowed all other women to stay in the military on a permanent basis. It's not something that makes a lot of history books, and it's not something that I think most Americans remember, but it's absolutely essential to the story of women in the military. They now exist on a permanent basis, though in limited ways, right? There are caps on the numbers of women who can serve. There are limits to the ranks they can achieve. There are certainly limits to the jobs they can do. If you get pregnant, you are immediately out, right? Those kinds of limitations existed, but it also stabilized the position for women in the military. And so as you went through the Korean War and generally the Cold War era leading up to the Vietnam War, women are in a much more permanent place and position, and they're not going anywhere.